Hello and welcome to the Lose Weight Feel Great Summit. I'm your host, Joanna Peterson, and I have with us today Ross Bridgeford. He's very hard to get a hold of. Welcome, Ross.
Thank you. No, awesome to be here. And yeah, thank you again for your patience and persistence to get hold of me. That's awesome.
Thank you. I'm so thrilled to have him. He is the author of the 2 alkaline diet recipe books and the international bestseller, The Alkaline Reset Cleanse. He is a health coach, a nutrition addict, and his dream is to energize the world, right?
That's me. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, one person at a time if it needs to be. We're going to get there.
Right. How did you start in this field? And tell me a little bit more about yourself and alkaline food. Most of the people don't understand what does it mean getting your body more alkaline and the benefits.
Yeah, sure. So I started back in 2004 when I was just fresh out of uni. I'd been in the corporate world for a couple of years, straight out of a healthy lifestyle at uni, straight into the healthy world of corporate, working crazy hours and everything else as we do. And I just found myself picking up problem after problem, and it wasn't just coughs and colds, it was weight gain, it was skin conditions, it was chronic fatigue. These things are just building, but you tell yourself that this is normal because you're working so hard, because you know the stress and everything else. I actually went to a Tony Robbins event back in 2003 where we set all of these big goals and we were going to do all this stuff, and it's like I know I'm not going to get there with the level of energy that I've got. So this all started with me planting the seed to run the London Marathon the next year. And it was like 4 months later or something. And I had no idea at the time how hard and how impossible it was to get into the London Marathon. But the angel shined on me. I got a place in the marathon, and that's what led me to the nutrition side. Very quickly discovered the principles of alkalinity through the Tony Robbins path and amazing mentors, people like Stu Mittelman and Joe McClendon. And the journey really started there for me. I ran the marathon, had a great time, lost all the weight, feeling amazing. And just knew that I had to spread this message, get this out to the world. From my own research, I couldn't find anything out there. This was 2004. There was no Facebook, no Instagram. There wasn't even WordPress or blogging back then. So just started small, built a site, started to put the message out there. Fast forward nearly 16 years. Here we are today with books and everything else going on. So it started from that journey where a lot of people start, which is just that click of acceptance that this isn't right. The way I'm feeling, the way I'm looking, what my first 5 minutes of the day when I get out of the bed, this doesn't feel right. And that journey of self-discovery, the alkaline approach, it just works. It just works. When I first started all those years ago, you know, there was very little research available. It was really working on intuition of this feels right. This makes sense. I can feel the results. I can see the results. As I started to teach it, I could see the results in others. As we've moved forward through those years, there is now so much evidence, scientific data, research studies on huge sample groups that have just proven the efficacy of the alkaline approach for energy, for sports recovery, for skin conditions, and all the way through then type 2 diabetes, cancer, hypertension, heart disease. The alkaline approach is proven, and it works because it deals with getting your body back into balance. Your body requires being at that pH of 7.365. Most people, when they look at the alkaline approach, going, oh, you're trying to get your body more alkaline. And that's not the point. The point is to simply support the body to maintain that 7.365 without it having to go through stress and hard work to constantly rebalance. And what helps the body do that is delicious, nourishing, whole, natural, beautiful fruits and vegetables and healthy fats and nuts and seeds and hydration and exercise and all these wonderful things we know are good for us. Whilst eliminating those things we know are bad for us, sugar and gluten and processed foods and junk foods and just rubbish. They're the things we know that aren't good for us. Intuitively it works. Scientifically it's become just beyond proven over the last 15 years. And the results speak for themselves with my case studies, through the people that go through the Alkaline Reset Cleanse, through any of my other programs. It just works so well, and it's so enjoyable because it becomes effortless when you just start by nourishing the body. That's why I love it.
Yes, I love it. And so on a alkaline diet, you're eating more green vegetables, basically. The color green is very important.
Green is very important. The most alkaline forming foods are leafy greens, beyond question. Supporting foods to that are effectively all other fresh vegetables, less reliance on fruit as a source of nourishment, but it is a part of a healthy alkaline diet. But really that moving towards those beautiful green, leafy green vegetables, and healthy fats, really, really important. Anti-inflammatories like the turmeric and the ginger and beets and carrots and those types of foods as well. As long as you're eating from nature and eating as close to nature as possible, you can't really go wrong.
Mm. And so with the alkaline foods, do you steam them? Do you eat them raw? Do you juice them? What is the best way to become more alkaline with foods?
All of the above, really all of the above. There's not a really, there isn't a over fascination with raw. Like raw naturally forms a part of a healthy alkaline diet because you are juicing, you are having smoothies, you gravitate towards gigantic salads. But cooked foods as well are part of that too. So my approach is all about stripping back when people get bogged down in the detail and they try to be perfect, they try to just get everything quite right. It doesn't need to be so. If you are following just your intuition into how these vegetables should be consumed, you will find yourself juicing and having salads and having smoothies. That's a lot of raw food each day. If you're having cooked food as well with that, that's cool. You know, there is the talk that some nutrients are lost and it's true. When you take a food from the ground to when you eat it, the more things you do to it along that spectrum, there will be some nutrients lost. But if you're having steamed vegetables or roast vegetables or cooking a stir fryer, there's still plenty of goodness in those foods as well. If you're having your juices and your salads with it, that's totally fine.
Mm-hmm. And then how does it affect the digestive system? So we talked about eating all the greens. So what if, eating more greens make your body more alkaline, eating more processed foods, the red meat affects our digestive system. But can you talk a little bit more about how does this affect the digestive system and how much more sluggish it gets and absorption, etc.?
Yeah, absolutely. The digestive system, first and foremost, is incredibly complex, and it would be very hard for us to cover all of it in the time that we have here. When people have issues with digestive imbalance, the source of that could be coming from multiple different places. It's the same with gaining weight, which I'm sure we'll get onto shortly, that it can come from a myriad of different factors that all lead to that imbalance that's causing the clogging and the sluggishness and the poor performance of the digestive system. It's really, really, really important for me to always maintain that it's not in trying to make the system more alkaline and prevent it from being more. It's about trying to maintain that balance. And that's particularly essential when it comes to the digestive system. So when we are consuming acid-forming foods, we're constantly asking our body to pull the alkalinity of the blood back up to that slightly alkaline range. The body, it takes a huge amount of effort and a huge amount of resources. And one of the systems that's comprised the digestive system, particularly the immune system, particularly your skeletal system as well, to keep pulling that pH back up. There's a range that's considered safe for the human body to stay in of pH, and the body will get it back up to the minimum possible amount that's considered safe, and then it will go on to other things. And in this, what the medical literature calls, it's called diet-induced acidosis. It's very low-grade acidosis, so we won't die. If it goes too much lower, you die. You won't die at this level, but you're not thriving. And at that state of acidosis is when our gut flora becomes massively out of balance. It's where yeast can proliferate. It's where candida will grow. It's where the good bacteria just cannot flourish in that environment. You have to try to regain a foothold. That we could go so deep on this now, but you have to try to regain a foothold. It will affect how much hydrochloric acid to sodium bicarbonate your stomach will produce. So as soon as you eat a food, your body basically, as soon as the food hits your tongue, your body starts to secrete enzymes that will start to determine how much hydrochloric acid you'll produce. So people with acid reflux, for instance, when you're constantly eating acid forming foods, it's not signaling for the body to also produce sodium bicarbonate to balance that acidity before the food moves on to the next phase of digestion, which is the duodenum. You can feel free to stop me if I'm going too fast. When we're not producing enough sodium bicarbonate, there is an overflow of too much hydrochloric acid, which is why a lot of people get reflux. There's another situation where it can get reversed, which is why some people get reflux for certain foods and some people don't. Some have a trigger food of tomatoes or lemons, whereas for other people it will be carrots and beetroot. But that is just one of the many imbalances that can get completely thrown out when we're constantly bombarding our food with acid-forming substances, junk food, takeaways, processed foods, these type of things, particularly sugar and gluten. But in this scenario where the stomach hasn't produced enough of the right balance of hydrochloric acid to sodium bicarbonate, and the food's then passing into the next phase of digestion, where it should now, after it's passed from the acidic stomach into the duodenum, be about pH 8, if it's going into there too low, not enough pepsin is produced, not enough of the other digestive enzymes, and that's where, as the food starts to reach the small intestine, isn't properly digested. It starts to get clogged. With all the little microvilli in our intestines, which are there to extract nutrients from food and pass it back into the body, get clumped down with undigested food. Now that the food's getting clogged, more bacteria gets produced, more yeast, more candida, and it starts to cycle very quickly out of control. Alkaline forming foods, the body doesn't have to produce as much sodium bicarbonate. It passes through to the duodenum properly and it flows through beautifully. These foods are also naturally rich in fiber. They're naturally rich in healthy fats and everything else that helps to keep the digestive tract in good shape. The knock-on effect here, of course, then when the digestive tract gets clogged, we start to get leaky gut. Zonulin is produced, the holes, the little tears appear in the intestine, food passes back into the bloodstream, autoimmune comes along. It's all a big cycle, and it's all these systems working in tandem. In my book, The Alkaline Reset Cleanse, I go quite deep on these 5 systems of digestion, immune, pH buffering, detoxification, and endocrine, because they are all so interlinked. Digestive imbalance, as I've just said, can so easily lead to an immune imbalance. Immune imbalance can put so much pressure on your adrenals, on your thyroid, on the rest of your endocrine system. When you're eating this way, your liver and your kidneys get clogged up so your body can't detoxify. The cycles just keep going. It all comes back to bringing our bodies back to the one thing your body wants, is for you to just give it the tools it needs so that it can thrive. And those tools are beautiful, fresh foods. Ultimately, it's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Incredibly complex problems solved by incredibly simple solutions. Just coconut oil. If someone's got a digestive issue, if they've got candida overgrowth, which most people that are eating an acidic based diet would have candida issues, whether it's evidence to them or not, just coconut oil. The specific fatty acids in coconut oil have been proven to completely destroy candida. Just a teaspoon of coconut oil a day can really, really make a huge impact with candida, with energy. Most people struggling with energy, it's coming down to your adrenals or a candida overgrowth are 2 of the most common that I see. Coconut oil alone can help with both of those. Simple solutions to complex problems.
Isn't that great? Yeah, it's a great antifungal, antiviral. It has low acid in it, which comes naturally. It's in breast milk. It's an immune builder.
Absolutely.
I love it.
And it comes down to the power of that caprylic acid that's in there. And I know a lot of people potentially watching maybe but I've got an intolerance to coconut, but go to the MCT oils, the medium chain triglyceride oils, which is just caprylic acid. So all of those same benefits. I prefer coconut oil because it's got all the other fatty acids in it as well that all do their own things. But if you have got an intolerance to coconut, MCT oils can still get you all of those same benefits.
And the MCT oil helps also with weight loss.
It massively does. Speeds metabolism. It's a massive antioxidant to the brain. So powerful. Love it.
Good. I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about stress. So how does stress affect our pH?
Awesome question. I'm so glad you asked, because stress is people think of emotions as these things that we can't control, and they impact our hormones, which are these things that we can't control. They see hormones as this sort of esoteric thing that just appears in our life, but stress is a bodily function. It can be so deeply impactful on the way your body functions, particularly when it comes to fatigue, when it comes to weight as well. And stress, it touches every single part of our health. There's a wonderful study Professor Ian Roby from the University of Arizona did on the impact of chronic elevated cortisol, pH of the body, and its knock-on effect to various health conditions. And I know that he is focused particularly on cancer in his research, but when we're stressed, it's effectively our body going into fight or flight. It's cortisol is being released. When we're stressed, cortisol is released. What releases cortisol? Our adrenals. In our modern life, our adrenals are getting triggered to release cortisol 10 times an hour, 24 hours a day. We weren't built for this. We haven't evolved for this. When you release too much cortisol, the immediate impact on the body is that it lowers blood pH. So when I discover this, having spent however many years, the best part of a decade going, a lowered pH is effectively at the root of all sickness and health conditions. And now I'm discovering, so, you know, this research I would have discovered maybe 6, 7 years ago. Now I'm discovering that when our cortisol goes up, our pH goes down. Hang on a second. Stress becomes perhaps more acid forming than any food. It becomes more acid forming than sugar, than gluten, than processed meats. Yet we're not doing anything about it. When we're looking, you know, most people, and it's a maddening and a saddening situation, but most people, when they look to go into losing weight, you know, they want to change the way their body looks, they put themselves into a state of stress. It becomes a hard, soul destroying kind of situation of calorie counting and restriction and deprivation, and almost like, you know, a stressful form of anger towards my body, how my body looks, and I'm going to beat it and I'm going to fight it. Elevating cortisol, which is literally when someone has adrenal fatigue, it is physically impossible to have sustained long-term weight loss. Physically impossible. It literally cannot happen. You can lose a few pounds. You can starve a few pounds out of your body. All that is doing is elevating your cortisol levels, elevating the stress level in your body, so that when you stop doing that, your body is now even more in fight or flight mode, which is the state in which it's going to say, I need to get as much fat on my body as possible and cling onto it for as long as I can, because there's stress coming, there's famine coming. I'm in a dangerous place. It breaks my heart when people approach health with that frame of mind of this almost separation from their body, of like a fight against their body. It's elevating stress. It's not how we should be. We should be seen as one. Your body and you are a team. And when you start to look at it this way, what does my body want? When you start that question, how can I give my body the tools though, so that we can get there together? How can we do this as a team? You start to lower that stress connection there. But ultimately, I would love for everybody to practice some form of meditation or yoga, or even just some breathing exercises on a daily basis. I know that's unrealistic for a lot of people. I know a lot of people will be just switching off as I say that, but even 10 minutes of mindfulness a day, use Headspace. You know, they've got a free 10-day, 10-minute practice. I never thought I could meditate. It makes it so easy. It makes it so simple, and it changed my life. It literally is, you know, for the amount of time required, the biggest change to my life out of anything that I've done is to bring that practice in on a daily basis. But yeah, it's deeply impactful. If you have got adrenal fatigue, you can forget weight loss. It hugely increases your risk for chronic fatigue. If you're not already fatigued from the adrenal fatigue, it hugely increases your risk for depression and depressive states. It's not good. And it can take a little while to unravel adrenal fatigue. It's not something you can do a a quick fix on. It can take time. You need to focus on healthy fats, on anti-inflammatories, on green foods. You need to practice some form of stress relief if you've got adrenal fatigue, because cortisol, once triggered, will continue to trigger. You need to break the cycle. It's rarely talked about. And I'm so grateful that you asked the question, because it's the missing piece for so many people that feel like they've tried everything and nothing works.
I love how you put it together, the body, mind, spirit connection, because yes, we don't see ourselves as one and then just attacking ourselves, wanting to look a certain way. But the thing is, most of the people are not even educated on health, so they don't really know. They don't know any better. They know Weight Watchers and other weight losses, and then they try so hard. They want to get on it because it's a mission that they want to accomplish, but they don't understand that's everything within you. If you learn how to eat healthy, you don't need to get on a weight loss plan, and you're going to have all these, just like what you said.
Yeah, I couldn't agree. I could not agree more. Being overweight is a state of imbalance. Being underweight is a state of imbalance. Neither factors are about weight. They're about your body being out of balance. They're about your body, something in your body not working right, whether it's your digestion being clogged, whether it's adrenal fatigue or a thyroid imbalance, or your liver not performing properly, or your kidneys not able to properly process toxins, there's all these factors that can lead to weight gain, because it's a symptom of your body being out of balance. When you restore the balance to your body, the weight will disappear. Your body doesn't want to hold on to fat. Your body doesn't want to be overweight. It wants to be in balance. And that's what it comes down to. Absolutely. And the side benefits, it's funny. And I'm sure you would experience the same thing. People come to you and they go, oh, all these amazing things happen. All that, like, I've got so much energy. This psoriasis has completely gone and my reflux has cleared up. And you're like, but what about the weight? Oh yeah, no, the weight went. And it's suddenly the weight loss became this secondary benefit, and all these amazing, the way they feel and the way their vitality becomes, this was really what I was after. The weight loss became the secondary benefit. And it is true. You aim for health, you aim for this balance to be back in your body, for your body to be nourished, and it becomes effortless. Yeah. The weight falls away because you're putting your body in that correct state. Totally agree.
And people are just happy when they eat healthy, right?
Yeah. Happy, for sure. Yeah, and it's one of the things that I've loved, like, so much since the book came out. There's been such this big community that's been built around doing the cleanse and following my programs. And I love it when, there are people that are in a situation with hypothyroidism or adrenal fatigue or some other issue where you're not going to get to your goal weight in 7 days. It's not that type of thing. It's going to take longer, but they're in the group and they're just so happy. They've got all of these other benefits and they're like, do you know what? I stopped weighing myself. I know I'm going to get there. I know it's going to happen. I know I'm going to reach my ideal weight, and I'm just so happy. Yeah. The stress and the pressure around what's on the scale completely disappears because their energy is lifted and their mood lifts with it. And it's just beautiful to see. It sends a little shiver down my spine.
So I want to know 3 things that you do every day for yourself that keep you going and, make you look as vibrant as you do.
Well, look, I can't promise I'll keep it to 3, but I'll try and keep it brief. So the first one is that form of some form of meditative practice. It can be going for a run. It can be yoga. It can be, for different people, meditation will mean different things, but it's that mindfulness of just being present in the moment and stopping the monkey brain. That is so essential to lowering that cortisol level, as we've already covered. So that's really important. On the more standard sort of health things, massive hydration, of course, so crucial. Again, we could do a whole half hour just on water, but just some form of filtration is important. But between 3 and 4 litres of water a day, I don't know the fluid ounce, I think it's 100-ish fluid ounces that works out to. I should know that, I get asked that all the time. Really, really, hydration is just so critical for pH balance, for inflammation, for reducing oxidative stress. We haven't even touched on those. Really, really important for digestion as well, for supporting the liver and the kidneys. some form of anti-inflammatory practice every day. So for me, that's an anti-inflammatory tea that I'll just make at home. Can be as simple as just grating some turmeric and ginger into a pan of water, simmering it for a bit, drinking it. You can add turmeric and ginger to your juices, to your smoothies. You can have vegetables, but some form of getting turmeric or ginger into your daily life. Inflammation is up there. I call it the triple A of alkalinity, anti-inflammatory, and antioxidant rich foods. They are what are going to get you huge results. Inflammation is up there with acidity as being at the root cause of so many chronic diseases. Again, cancer, heart disease, stroke, and hypertension, type 2 diabetes, all the autoimmune conditions. Inflammation is massive. So the meditation, the hydration, the anti-inflammatories, and then just greens, man. It has to come in some form. Juices, smoothies, salads, really easy ways to do it. If you don't want to juice every day, juice every other day, but make twice as much. And just put the other one in the fridge. Yes, there will be some nutrient loss again, but done is better than perfect. Perfection is the quickest way to giving up, the quickest way to failure. Just having that second juice in the fridge, great. You've just halved the amount of juicing you're doing for a week. Same with smoothies. Little really easy tip for people when they're just getting started is just to have a side salad with every meal. Doesn't matter what your meal is. It can be pizza. It doesn't matter what it is. You have to have a side salad with it. Just big handfuls of spinach and rocket or lettuce, just a big bowl of greens. I'm not talking a side salad like you get at a restaurant that's just like a little bit of tomato, and a big, nice big salad with your meal. Dress it with some flax oil, some avocado oil to get some healthy fats in as well. Just that with every meal, twice a day, not breakfast, but lunch and dinner. You're going to be getting yourself 4 or 5 serves of greens every day. You know, the thing is, they say 5 serves of fruits and vegetables a day, and even most people don't do that, but even the people that do that, of that, it's rare that one of those is a leafy green. If you can get 3, 4, 5 serves of leafy greens in every day, everything changes. Everything changes. So they're the musts. You've got to get some form of meditation in, some form of proper hydration, anti-inflammatories, and those greens. The 5th one I'd add to my 3 is the healthy fats, because it's such an easy one. Just a good omega oil supplement, using coconut oil for your cooking because it's the healthiest oil to cook with, but getting some in your morning oats or in your smoothie or in any form of cooking, or if you're living in a nice warm country and it's gone to a liquid state, just off a spoon, an omega oil supplement and some coconut oil every day. The vast majority of people get totally nowhere enough healthy fats. Again, that's 5 really simple things that will take in total between them less than 15 minutes a day, and just those 5 things can be life-changing. So if everyone can do those, I'll be a happy man.
Great, so much great info and amazing all the input that you're giving. Thank you.
Oh, no, I appreciate that. I appreciate you having the perseverance to track me down and get me on here.
That's what I do. One more thing for the parents out there, because I know you have children too. So, you know, they need to stay alkaline too because of all the food that is given to them at school, etc. So what do you do for your kids to keep them strong?
Yeah, look, it's a trick. It's hard. Like, there's no way around it. Kids are kids, man. They are crazy and they make different decisions. And just when you think, wow, my kid's so good. Look, he eats avocado and he eats this and he eats that. The next day they go, no. You've just got to try and keep the pressure off and keep it really simple. With children, they're lucky. They haven't had the 30, 40, 50, 60 years that adults have had of eating rubbish. So their systems are very, very efficient, and they're redeveloping, they're growing all of the time. So with children, it's always a balance with every human, but it's that balance of how much focus do you put on what not to put in versus what to put in. So how much do you focus? I'm not going to stress about cutting all these things out. I'm going to focus managers on putting these good things in. And for most people, when they're starting out, I would suggest focusing on putting the good stuff in before you start cutting the bad stuff out. With kids, really focus on just not getting the really bad stuff in. Focus on building a lifetime of habits for them where we just don't have soft drinks. We just don't have lollies every day. We just don't do that. We have water. We have, you know, these smoothies that we make with kids, for instance. I'm not naive enough to think that my 3-year-old's going to drink the same juice that I'm going to drink. Maybe he will at some point in the future, and then he'll stop wanting it again. So for my kids, I'll make a juice for us, and then I'll make a juice that's more carrots and beetroots, and I will put a little bit of apple in for them. And I'll put in some coconut water, and I'll make it sweeter, but I know that they're getting the goodness still. You just have to adapt it a little bit. I know which vegetables they'll eat, so I'll give them those. I'm not putting the pressure on to go, you have to have all of these amazing alkaline foods all the time. You know, if they go to a kid's party, I almost like to let them self-select what they're going to have as a bit of a test. And if they feel crappy later, it's a learning experience. Right. So there's much less pressure, but it's about making it fun and colourful. I know they won't drink a green smoothie necessarily simply because it's green. So we'll put something in there to make it red. We'll put in some beetroot or something just to change the colour. What is it about the colour green in kids? It seems universal. I don't understand. It seems there's no logical reason as to why they would not want green foods, but it's a universal thing. The nature v nurture debate. I think that's nature. So we just add something in there to make it not so green for them. It's really simple stuff, but it's pressure free. Look, if you've got, I know parents that have got kids that it's like all they want is brown food. They just want pasta and bread all the time. That's all they want. There's still ways you can work with that. You know, you can go, oh, they're going to have pasta, but you can make a really fresh, vibrant, raw tomato sauce, just blending up some tomatoes and some, you know, the veggies that they're going to like, just blending up and keeping it simple and putting that on the tomato, you know, on the pasta, sorry. It's less, you don't have to worry so much with kids because their systems are so much more adaptable and so much less battered and bruised than ours are. But at the same time, keep the pressure off, focus on adding the good in, focus on just making sure they don't go down those bad paths of things like soda. Simple swaps, and it's baby steps. If you're in a situation now where all of this type of information is new to you, you know, you can transition from sodas to fruit juices to smoothies that you're making at home and then onto something better. You know, it doesn't have to be all at once. Kids aren't great when you just pull the rug out from under their feet and just change it all in a heartbeat. It's just keep it simple and don't stress too much with kids because they'll change again tomorrow. You know that as much as I do.
Great
they'll change again.
Advice. So some good vegetables, some good fat for these little guys, and just don't give them sugar every day. You know?
And just don't stress if there are some things in their diet that they love and that aren't the worst thing in the world, but you wish they didn't have. Just it's okay for now. As long as you're getting some good stuff in as well, it's okay for now. It's not the end of the world. They don't have to be as regimented or as perfect as an adult that's got problems, basically. They're okay. So stress-free.
Yeah. And you know, the other thing is also when they don't eat enough fat and vegetables, they get a lot more cavities.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I know.
So I mean, it's a win-win when you eat vegetables.
Yeah, oh, for sure, absolutely. And I honestly think the biggest win is creating habits and a headspace for them of this is how we eat that will serve them a lifetime ultimately. Just for them, it takes it in food should be a pleasure, but it should be a pleasure because of the way it makes you feel, and it takes away, you know, it's so difficult now. Marketers get more and more savvy the more time goes on. Food scientists get more savvy the more time goes on. They're getting really good at making foods really attractive and really addictive. And the more we can, while we've got control over these little minds, because it won't be long, I know your eldest is the same age as I. It won't be long before we don't have that control over their environment. And the more we can seed these good ideas and these good healthy behaviors now, and these healthy in not just the food choices, but the relaxed and the relaxed nature around those choices, and that natural wanting to feel good, and that food makes you feel good because it makes you energized, not comforted, which is that for me is the biggest task that we have as parents where it comes to nutrition. It's just the lessons and the habits and the approach to nutrition. That's all we can ultimately do, because I know my parents did that for me, and I still went to uni and ate rubbish. So, but the good thing is you come out the other side and you go, hey, I'm making that connection. I'm making that connection that I feel bad when I eat this food and I feel good when I eat this food. That's really all we can do.
And then you went back to your roots anyway. So you
massively, because they planted those seeds. Because I grew up where my dad had a vegetable garden, we were eating fresh vegetables every day, where we didn't have soft drinks in the house. We had treats. Don't get me wrong. My parents would be laughing because I know that they still love their treats. But it was more that you got to do the right thing most of the time. And when you do the right thing most of the time, that allows you the room to have those treats and have those down days and have that holiday and relax a little bit about it. They planted the seed in me that vegetables and fresh foods and real whole foods are really what's going to create an amazing life and an amazing energy and feeling good. It all comes down to that. You can't have an amazing life if you don't have energy, and if you are sick, and if you are feeling terrible in your body. You need to have the complete picture. You need to have your body energized and feeling amazing to complete all of the other areas of your life. That's just what it comes down to. So thanks, Mum and Dad.
Right. Well, thank you, Ross. Thank you so much for being here and all this valuable information. I pray that the audience looks at your books and your videos. You got amazing stuff out there.
Thank you.
And everyone can learn a little bit more about their health and through your books. And
yep.
Look, I mean, if someone doesn't want to read, just watch the YouTube videos.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
An abundant amount.
Yeah, we try to be multi-modality these days. Yeah, for sure. Even just jumping on, I've got a free Facebook community. I do Facebook Lives and little lessons in there all the time. Yeah. Grab a book, Alkaline Reset Cleanse. It's pretty much everywhere. Even if you're not I'm not ready to do a cleanse, I talk a lot more about these systems, and the rebalancing everything. Probably, 2/3 of the book is like the stuff we've talked about today. So yeah, there's just, if people look me up, they'll find plenty of information out there. It's all good.
Thank you for all that, and thank you for making it happen today.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you to you too. It's absolute pleasure. Massive gratitude to you. So yeah, I can't wait to see all the other interviews in the summit as well. Looking forward to it.
Yes.
Thanks so much. See ya.